You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here is your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am Glenn the Geek, coming to you from Blue Fire Farm in Ocala, Florida.
And I'm Jaclyn, coming to you from Damascus, Maryland, and you are listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Wednesday, July 17th, episode 3477.
Hello, Horse World. It's Wednesday, the day you start daydreaming of a weekend with your horses. We'll help you get there with more silly horse talk on Horses in the Morning.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm so happy to have Jaclyn here with us. Jaclyn, you haven't filled in a long time. Thanks for doing this today.
I know. I feel like I had a kid and you kicked me out.
Well, you did actually. You have a kid since we did this last together. So, and how old's the kid now?
He's 2.5 and he is feral.
Just like his mommy. So it's perfect.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's really fun. So yeah, no, I'm excited to do this again. It seems like yesterday and forever at the same time.
Yeah, and Jamie, of course, is out. She's in Colorado doing clinics and stuff for a ranch over there, brought the whole family along. And from the first post she did after she got there, it looks like she's going to have some stories to tell next week.
I cannot wait.
Let's just say she got wet, unintentionally got wet. So we're going to hear more about that next week. But today we have a fun show planned for you. We have Dr. Grace Buchanan of Hunt Country Equine. She's going to join us to explain what to expect on your first equine chiropractic appointment. And you have somebody coming on too, right?
Yeah, I'm having one of my students, Alaina, join us to kind of talk about her eventing journey and the plan we have for the barn to go to the American Eventing Championships in Kentucky later this August. Yeah.
That's really like exciting. The next thing to the Olympics.
I mean, for them, it is.
Yeah.
Right?
No, true. For the United States, it is, right?
They have like 1,000 horses. It's crazy.
Wow. And where is it this year?
It's at the Kentucky Horse Park in Lexington.
Do they have it there all the time now, or is it still rotating?
So it was there last year, and I think next year, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure it's actually going to be out at Galway Downs in California, which is where they just claimed that the Olympics will be in 2028.
Right.
And then it goes back to Kentucky. So I think they're going to try this rotating schedule moving forward, which will be great because then you can, get both sides of the country and everybody in the middle.
Well, and it makes it easier to plan, too, if you know exactly where you're going all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, great. And then also, we have an auditor coming on that's going to review a brand new product that's not even out yet. It's called the Bex Bar Soap. It's put out by Kensington, and we're going to find out about that. So, actually, several of the auditors had it for testing, so we'll chat with them a little later in the show, and then we'll do a post-show because somebody has some venting to do. Actually, there's two somebodies on this show right now that have some venting to do. We'll do that after in the post show. There is history being made, though. This week is Tevis, of course, the 100-mile race. That's the races of all endurance races in California. That's this Saturday. And for the first time ever, there is an African-American rider. That's right. There hasn't been an African-American rider yet. And an article that was put out from our friends over at Black Reins said that Erna Valdivia is going to be the first African-American rider competing, and she is 17 years old. She's riding an Arabian Rescue named after the Taylor Swift song Love Story. Yes, the horse's name is Love Story. And her mom, Vera, rescues hundreds of Arabian horses from dire circumstances. She goes to kill pens and all that kind of stuff. Apparently, she's really into Arabians, and this is one of the horses that she saved from slaughter. Apparently, this horse was feral. Speaking of feral, this horse was feral. It jumped out of their 5-foot pen to escape being touched.
It's a big jump.
Yeah, and 3 years later, she's riding it at Tevis. So that's pretty cool for a 17-year-old. So we'll be following her this week at Tevis. And, of course, we do the endurance show, so we'll be doing all kinds of wrap-ups on that coming up in August here. But we wish everybody the best this week at Tevis. Be safe out there. And I don't know what the weather's supposed to be. Last year it was very hot, so I'll have to check out what the weather's supposed to be this year. But let's do some daily Whinnies. Well, we have a couple of auditor birthdays. Actually, first one's a horse husband of an auditor, Ray Watts. He was been on almost, I think, every Horse Lovers cruise we've done. I love hanging out with Ray. So happy birthday to you, Ray. Then we have Bethany Bartolini Seppi, S-E-P-E?
Looks right.
Seppi? Elizabeth York and Summer Flynn. See, you don't pick on me how I say names. Like Jamie would have ripped me a new one for saying it wrong, even though it might not be wrong. She would have still said I said it.
I give you an A. I think it's good.
Thank you. You're going to co-host all the time from now on. I like this.
All right. I have a 2-part Daily Winnie here. I want to give a shout out to the 2 girls who work for me, Court Flynn and Vanessa Warren. They have been working their butts off in this 100-degree plus heat and showing up with a smile, with iced coffee. And I just got to give them credit because they've been doing a great job. And Court has actually, I've kind of given her the summer project of breaking my 3-year-old baby, or I should say starting. And she had him cantering in the indoor yesterday.
Oh,
so
wow.
Shout out to both of them.
How cool is that?
It's
so it's
cool.
Been as hot up there as it's been down here?
I think it's hotter. I look at the weather and I'm like, why didn't we move to Ocala?
My brother called me yesterday from Connecticut. It was 96 and we were like 89. So, it was crazy. And, we thought we're now staying actually, and I'll explain this in a second, but we're staying in our living quarters trailer at the boarding stable, which is absolutely beautiful. And thanks to Gail and John for allowing us to do that. The only 2 horses here are our horses. It's a very nice property. They have full hookups. And we thought, on our road trips, that we could air condition the front living quarters of the horse trailer and the back where I set up, where the horses are. I usually set up back there to do the shows. But it's been so hot that the air conditioner won't do both. It's like 90 degrees in the back. So they're allowing me to use their spare bedroom to record from their house. So we've pretty much taken over the farm, and I really do appreciate it. They've been so super nice about all of this. As you all know, the well fiasco at the new place at Over 2 Acres Ranch, it has taken them almost 4 weeks, but I'm happy to report, Thursday last week, I haven't been on since Wednesday last week. Thursday last week, they found some water in the 3rd hole at about 220 feet. I went actually out there and talked firsthand to the well driller dudes. And the first 2 holes, they drilled 400 feet on each of those holes and hit nothing but sand.
Wow. That seems really deep.
Yeah. So the next hole, which was only about 25 feet away from the 2nd hole, about 220 feet, they started hitting water. And he said, it's not enough water. And I thought, I'm going to go out the next day and really see Friday morning and see if they're actually going to get this done today. And it's an hour drive. So I drove up there an hour on Friday and get there, and there's no truck running. The truck's still hooked up to the well, and it's not running. The truck died.
Oh, no.
They couldn't get it started, and nothing works if you can't get the truck started. And it's sitting jacked up. The front wheels are off the ground about 6 feet. So they can't move it. They can't do anything. They have to fix it there because it's connected to the well and it can't run. So apparently they spent all day Friday fixing the truck. You can't make this stuff up. And then Monday, I'm happy to report they found water at about 300 feet. Yay! And we now have a well. We have a pump. We have the tank there. It looks like a well, and it acts apparently like a well. I don't know. We haven't tried it yet. But we have water, which means now we can finally get electric and everything else going. So
this just sounds expensive.
I think we already paid him $6,500. And from what we heard, it's going to be another 12 to 20.
Oh my gosh, that hurts me for you.
I know, it does hurt. That hurts seriously, just for water. So, yeah. So we're glad that they finally found water. And I'm not sure it was their fault. But when I got out there Friday, I was truly deflated when I saw the truck wasn't running. Because it was like,
I'm sure.
What else could go wrong with this? Anyway, before we get to your first guest, you're competing this year too, right? On one of your horses?
Yeah, I have a couple horses going. I have a mare that I brought over from Germany last year. She's 7. So unfortunately, the spring's not been great for her. It's a very long story, but the short story, she got a lung infection. We've been dealing with Lyme's and EPM, and I'm happy to report. I actually, even as a professional, sometimes you got to call in reinforcements. And I had a friend of mine compete her last weekend at the Maryland horse trials, and she jumped double clear around there. So that was great. Yeah. So hopefully I'll be taking back the reins on her. She's lovely. I think she's a mare and she's a warm blood and 7. And so we're just getting her going again. And then I actually brought a new horse over that we found as well. He came over in February, and he is 6. His name is Casino Kid, or we call him Chicken in the Barn because, oh my God, this horse is scared of his own shadow. He is like...
Warm blood too?
Yeah, he's a Holsteiner, and he has taken to eventing. He loves it, and he's been super competitive. He's qualified for ACs too, so I think he'll be making the trip. I haven't totally decided yet, but oh my God, this horse he is lovely. Like, he could go to the Olympics with somebody other than me, but I would like to keep him for myself. I really do like him. So
that's the tough part with these horses that you get in that are really, really good. The problem is at some point, when they get into the advanced levels, you can sell them for big bucks and actually pay your bills, but that means you're not riding them.
I know. And I'm kind of old now, and I'm like, this is like my last shot. Like, I've already had a couple people make me some offers that were nice. I would make a profit, but I don't know. Like, I'm trying to be a little selfish here. We'll see. He just turned 6.
If you're not selfish at the age and I happen to know what age you are, if you're not selfish at the age you're at, it gets tougher to be selfish later.
Yeah. Fair. So yeah, we'll see. I'm going to enjoy it now. And while I still have I still work in tech, so I still have a corporate job. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do me for a little bit, and we'll see where it goes. So
do you, what's the highest level you've competed at in eventing?
Yeah, so I had an off-the-track thoroughbred when I was in college that I competed up to the now 3-star level. I think he did 5 3-stars, and we kind of tried to get him to go advanced, and unfortunately he just wouldn't stay sound. But I've brought a couple horses through the FEI levels, so it's been a bit, having a kid and a job and buying a farm. And so this is kind of, these 2 horses were really meant to kind of be my next, I would say, like upper level string. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they definitely have the potential. So
for those that are new to the show, when we did our road show back in 2021. Yeah, 2021.
It was August of 2021 because I was like very pregnant.
Yeah, you were pregnant. That's when we saw you last, actually, is when you were pregnant. We actually stayed at Jaclyn's beautiful farm there in Maryland. So kind of tell people where you are in Maryland. What section?
Yeah, so we have a great spot. We have this farm. So if you draw a line between Baltimore and DC, like a triangle, we're pretty much at the point of the triangle. So we're like 45 minutes to DC, 45 minutes to Baltimore.
Yet it seems very rural.
I mean, it definitely is rural for sure. But then you drive 2 miles and there's a Safeway and a bunch of restaurants and 2 Starbucks and a little further and you got everything you could need, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, like all the stuff. So it's a really good spot. We've been really lucky. And we have about 25 acres here, indoor, outdoor, a little bit of hacking. And we actually have been, kind of my baby has been putting in this cross-country schooling field. So this past winter, we actually put in a water jump, which has been so nice. So now we have, everything from like ditches and banks and water. And so it's been really great. And actually, I let people come in school. So it's been really nice to have, more schooling options in Maryland, because otherwise you're kind of going up to Boyd's, which he has like the Mecca of all places, but it's 2 hours north. And
it's not an
Philly.
Easy 2 hours either.
No, you're like straight up 95, or you're down, somewhere in Middleburg. A bunch of people have like private farms. So it's been good. And all of the, my barn is primarily adult amateurs and young riders. And I would say like more than half of them live in DC proper. So it's not too bad of a commute for them. Sometimes traffic can be terrible, but on the weekends, it's, typically less than an hour for them to get out. So
I like your area too, because it's got rolling hills It's really nice rolling hills for what, for conditioning and stuff. It's perfect.
Yeah, no, it's great. And like totally side note, other than the horses, is we have probably 10 breweries now within 10 miles of us and like 4 wineries.
We ate at one of them when we were there.
Yeah. I mean, like no judgment here, but this is this is how I unwind. Definitely going to the brewery on a Friday night or the winery down the road. It's really nice. I mean, it's almost close enough we could drive the Gator, but we take the car.
Priorities, man. Priorities.
Yeah. No.
Speaking of which,
my husband happy.
Before we get to Alaina, one of your students and one of the people there at your farm, who I met when we were there. And I wanted to mention because it is public knowledge now that Ashley, who you've heard co-host this show many times, she's my partner here at Equine Network and helps run the place, had her baby.
Yay!
So she had her baby last week. His name is Levi, and she's going to come on Friday morning to tell us all about it. So she'll stop by the show on Friday morning because she can't stay away, and she's going to tell us all about it. But she's healthy, baby's healthy. We joked the whole time about how Ashley is so into her schedule. She's very organized. She's, I'm not organized. She's organized. She keeps me organized. And the baby did not come as she planned it. So we'll hear about that.
They typically don't.
No, the baby was not on schedule. So we're going to discuss that on Friday morning. But congratulations to Ashley and the whole Winch clan out there and to little cute baby Levi. And so I wanted to let everybody know that she had her baby.
Yay.
And we do miss her.
Congratulations.
I miss her because, I'm having to do all the work now. So she can come back anytime now. I mean, she's had the baby. She's had a week, right? Is that enough?
I mean, I did not listen to the doctors, and I was definitely back in the barn after a few days. So, yeah, we're good. She's good.
She gets 3 months off, though. So I got 3 months, and then I'll be begging her to come back. So we'll see what happens. But congratulations. We're very happy for them. All right, let's go to your guest. We have Alaina joining us, and she is one of your students, and I met her. She's absolutely fantastic. Let's hear more about her, and I guess she's also qualified for the ACs.
So good morning, Alaina. Welcome to Horses in the Morning.
Yay! Thanks so much for having me. This is so exciting.
Yeah. So Alaina, maybe give us I know you've obviously met Glenn before we were talking about when we had the road show before, but maybe just not your 7-paragraph bio, but just a little bit about yourself, what you do, and about your horse.
Yeah, I am very wordy, so feel free to be great. I've been riding since I was little. I was one of those kids who had the horse bug before they met horse. I rode at Dartmouth College in undergrad and then moved to Maryland for work. I very much thought I wanted to work in politics, got to DC, decided that was not for me. And I've worked in education ever since. Right now I work at an education intermediary funder. So we do philanthropic giving in education in DC. I really love it. It's really awesome to see, kids that are just really benefiting from some of the investments that we make. I always try to convince them to take up horseback riding or get that as a PE class when I can. Good job. Moved to Maryland. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, good job. Get those kids started.
Oh, yeah. I just feel like the farms are not that far from DC. It's a really great sport. Obviously, I'm addicted. And then so I moved to Maryland. Obviously, there's a ton of event riders in Maryland. I was looking for a barn. And the trainer I ended up with was a pony club trainer, and then she had done a lot of eventing herself. So got hooked on that pretty quick. The cross-country phase is pretty awesome, hard to beat it. And then I ended up riding there with a couple of my college riding friends, one of whom I still ride with, who's at Jaclyn's barn. And I kind of never looked back. And I met Jaclyn. Oh my God, when did we meet? This is crazy. I think it's been a long time.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. So I met you before I even had the farm. So it's probably 2017, 2018. So It's been a bit. Yeah.
Very crazy.
Yeah. So I wanted to have Alaina on today because one, she's known me, for a bit, and she's been a longtime student, but I wanted to talk to you today, Alaina, about qualifying for the 2024 American Eventing Championships and what that means and kind of how you've gotten there and a little bit about like us going as a group all down to Kentucky here for a road trip in a couple weeks. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about your horse and, she's got a good story. So.
Oh my God, this horse is the best possible girl. And
hold on you have to say, what color is she?
Oh, she's a red mare. She's very much a chestnut mare. And I think that's very important because she is literally a saint. And I think really bucks that stereotype of red mares as being kind of crazy. Or maybe we're the same kind of crazy until we get along.
I was just going to say that, actually. I was going to throw that in.
No, this mare is like clonable. She is definitely not crazy. She is a saint of a horse.
Yes, she's really an angel. But the craziest thing is that Jaclyn found her off of Facebook super randomly. I was in between horses. I think Jaclyn was like recovering from some stuff. I was just like riding her horses and helping her out. And we were both kind of like, getting by. And I was obviously looking for a new horse and I was ready to, make the big switch and ride with Jaclyn full time, which obviously is like the best decision ever because I've qualified for AUC twice now with her. But so she found this horse on Facebook. It was up in Joppa, Maryland. And she had been bred and raced up in Pennsylvania, and her owner retired her. I think she had like a chip in her knee or something, and just, wanted her to have a good life. So she sent her to be retrained at this hunter jumper barn. And, she just was a good all around girl. And so Jaclyn found her and we brought her down to the Loch Moy farm to just see if she wanted to do cross country. I think she did like water and banks and all kinds of stuff that first day. And Jaclyn was like, all right, we'll take it. So we got her on a free lease from this wonderful woman, Cynthia, and we've had her ever since. I think it's been like almost 5 years now, 4 years.
5 years.
She's just, 5 years. I was like, time has escaped me. The pandemic really did a lot. But yeah, she's literally the best girl. So she had never evented really when I got her. And I was, still very much like figuring it out and learning. And I'd been leasing horses. And so, yeah, we just, went to work. Like, I think honestly, the fact that we have qualified for AUCs a couple of times is just a testament to like Jaclyn showing up for us. I think I said in one of the things I wrote for this that she's like an adult amateur whisperer. Like, she has a very special skill of like getting in our heads and helping us get out of our own heads and just being like, you got this, and I will give you a kick in the pants when you need it, but like, just go out and like get the job done. So yeah, we're qualified for the ACs in Kentucky. We just entered, crossing all my fingers and toes that, everybody stays healthy and happy and ready to go. But yeah, it's going to be a blast. We're going in the novice and we're just going to have a good old time, kicking around the Kentucky bluegrass.
So Glenn, I have to share this story about Alaina. So Alaina's first, I don't know if it was your first recognized event or not. So it is a miracle Alaina has, qualified now, because the first event I sat down in the middle of the field as she went cross country because she was going so slow. I was like, girl, we got to go a little faster. We're galloping. She had the slowest canter I had ever seen. I think you had like 50 time penalties. I was like, Alaina,
yeah,
you got to learn to gallop, girl.
So
was that on this thoroughbred?
Yes.
Oh my God.
This is a mare who, one of my friends, while I was pregnant, one of our friends, another girl who rides at the barn, Josie, rode her for me. And like, the horse goes. She's a racehorse. She has a go button. And this girl would like rip around on her. Like, they would always make the time. And their show jump rounds were super fast and clear. And I get on it and it's just like, oh, I'll lope around and go as slow as you want. So I think it's me. But yeah, I thought we were really galloping.
She got off cross country, Glenn, and she looked at me. She's like, that was amazing. I was going so fast. I'm like, I think you had 52 time penalties. Like,
it does seem faster when you're sitting on the horse, for sure. That is true, though. Well,
Yes.
You got to say the horse's name because I love the name.
Oh my gosh, her name is One Tough Muffet, like the nursery rhyme. And she goes by Muffet, and she was like 7 when we got her, so she definitely knew her name. And yeah, it's super cute. Like, she's it fits her, I feel like. She's a sweet girl, but she's tough. She digs deep when she has to. Our qualifying ride this year actually was at a very, very wet day at Weradaka. And there were a lot of horses who just were not happy running in the rain on that day. And she just said, all right, hold my beer. Like, I got this. And we really ripped around and had a great cross country finish. I think like 1 under the time that day. We moved up a bit because, dressage is not our favorite phase, I wouldn't say. But she just really gives it her all on the cross country, and I can't fault her for that. So
I don't think we've ever had an eventer on the show that says dressage is their favorite phase. I don't know that we've ever had that in the 15 years we've been doing this show. Well, this is very exciting. I'm so happy for you, and I'm so happy you found the right, and I'm so happy it's a thoroughbred, too,
Yeah.
as opposed to, and a thoroughbred red one, and a mare. So you have all of those things. Yeah, you got it all. Well, when are you guys heading out for the ACs?
Good question. Trainer, I'm sure you know the answer to that.
I think
Is it in August?
Yeah, it's at the end of August.
Okay.
So we're still figuring out who exactly from the barn is going. I think we'll have anywhere between 4 and 6 horses going.
Wow. That says a lot about the trainer, that Jaclyn girl.
Yeah.
You know what? I got to say, every person in my program, I'll shout out myself for a second. Every person in my program who wanted to go to AECs has gotten qualified.
Yay!
So, yeah. And
good for you.
And Alaina, tell
good
people what you have to do to qualify. Because I think for all levels, it's not easy to qualify.
Yeah. Also I think Area 2 is a competitive area for eventing. Like it encompasses Maryland, Virginia, I think a little bit of Pennsylvania. Like it's a competitive area here. You have to finish, I think, first or second in your division at any recognized event. And then you also have to have 3, like sort of, is it faultless? Can you have a time penalty? I think it's just like no jump penalty cross country rounds.
Yeah.
In addition to that first or second that I recognize.
Yeah. So it's pretty, as Alaina said, it's pretty tough to do, to get that, especially where we live, to be able to.
Yeah, because you're in a very competitive area.
Yeah. So, it's really, so we got 4 to 6 going. I think it's like that week leading up to Labor Day. So depending on when the horses go, we'll either leave Tuesday or Wednesday.
Well, we're going to have you both back after to find out what happened and how it was in Kentucky. Alaina, I'm so excited for you, and congratulations. Also, you had a kid since we talked last, so congratulations on that too. What are we, almost 2 now?
Yeah, he's almost 2. He's definitely met Muffet a bunch of times. I got him a helmet immediately.
Of course you did.
He really is into the horses, but of course he just likes to go fast. So whenever she's going, and he like I think I cluck at everything. Like I cluck at the car, I cluck at the dog, like the little like that a horse person would do. So he gets on the horse and he's always like clucking to her. And I'm just like, we could stay to the walk for now. Like, you just hold on.
He goes cantering off it, too.
He just wants to go fast. Like, that's his whole thing. He's like, how quick can this thing go? But no, the horse is insane, and he really likes her. But, he's almost 2. I just, can't believe it. It's crazy.
Well, good luck. We'll be rooting for you, okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
for having
Alaina.
me.
Well, for some reason, people are thinking about shopping right now. And if you head on over to statelinetack.com, it's ironic that we had 2 people on today, you and Alaina, who both have little kids. And the thing that they have on sale right now, and I'm proud to say, Jennifer and I were one of the first to sell these in the United States when they first came in. They have the new kids saddle pack from Wintec is available, which is the cutest thing ever. I personally think they should have a horse husband version of this because I really like the cage stirrups, the little kids' cage stirrups they have. I think horse husband should have those. But they have the Wintec kids saddle pack, and this is the little tiny English Wintec kids saddle that has the hand strap built into it. And it also has the cage stirrups, and the whole package is $245 right now. So they have it on sale. You can find it right there on the homepage. We sold, when we first got these in, when they first came out with these, by the way, they weigh 8 pounds? They're super light. And every kid starts out on one of these, and you don't have to worry about them destroying it because it's synthetic. You don't have to worry about them dropping it in the mud or whatever. It doesn't matter. But we sold probably 100 of these when they first came out. And we still had a kid's saddle. Jennifer was given lessons. We had it 20 years later, and we finally gave it to somebody else, and it still was not dead. That is the one thing about the Wintec stuff. It just never dies. So Wintec Kids Saddle Pack right now at statelinetack.com for $245. Get yours today.
Who knew this show was going to cost me money?
See? Little one needs a saddle.
I know he doesn't have one yet, and I'm literally pulled it up online. Here we are. Added it to the cart.
All right, next up, the Horse Health Report is brought to you by Daily Dose Equine, non-GMO core nutrition for horses and ponies of all ages. And we have Dr. Grace Buchanan coming on, and she's from Hunt Country Equine, which I think is in North Carolina. And we're going to be talking about what to expect from your first equine chiropractic appointment. Well, Dr. Buchanan, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Now, you're Hunt Country Equine. Where are you located?
We are in Tryon, North Carolina.
Oh, you're in Tryon. Yay.
Yeah.
I spent several weeks there during the World Equestrian Games covering that a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful, beautiful area. So you have a lot of horses there, so I can see how you keep busy in that area.
We do.
So now you're a vet, right? And also you deal in other modalities.
Yeah, correct. I would consider myself an integrative veterinarian. So I still do Western medicine, and then I also do acupuncture and chiropractic.
Okay. So let's talk about this, because we have listeners who are just getting their first horses, a lot of listeners with backyard horses, and a lot of listeners that compete, but many who have not done chiropractic for their horse yet. When should someone look at getting a chiropractor for their horse?
So, pretty much any horse can benefit from chiropractic, but things that can let you know that you should definitely consider that are if they have difficulty at the canter, especially. So if they feel like they're bunny hoppy or their stride's not as long as it should, if they have a harder time picking up one lead than the other, if they have a harder time carrying one lead than the other, they can pick it up, but they tend to cross canter or fall out of the lead. Or especially for like the performance horses, if they struggle with their lead changes, or in one, particularly one lead change more than the other, are really good indicators. Some things to pay attention to are when you're grooming your horse, if you look at them from behind, if the top of their rump, one side is higher than the other, then that means either they have a chiropractic issue, or I see a fair number of horses that probably had some kind of sacroiliac injury when they were younger, and one side of the two little bumps right at the top of their rump are called their tuber sacrali. And if one side is higher than the other, then they had something happen, some kind of trauma in their past. So I see that fairly commonly. Sometimes it's very, very subtle. Some horses, it's pretty dramatic.
I was going to say, I think I've seen more horses with it being crooked than straight.
Yeah. When you start really looking at them from behind, you'll see a lot of them are that way. And then another good indicator is, other things can obviously cause this too, but for your trail riders, if the horses are not very happy going downhill, want to zigzag downhill or don't really want to go downhill, or they rush downhill. I see that sometimes with my chiropractic patients too. And sometimes it can be like, I had one horse that had some poor saddle fit and her withers were really sore. So she would try to rush down the hill because the saddle was pinching her withers on the downhill. And then the other thing I see is if their sacroiliac area is really tight, then they have trouble kind of tucking and sitting a little bit to keep themselves from rushing down the hill. So they get uncomfortable and they get really stabby going downhill. So those are all good indicators. Obviously, too, when you're grooming your horse, if you notice bumps on their back, that can be a sign of saddle fit. If they have hair discoloration on their withers or their back, or they're really sensitive when you're grooming, or they get angry about putting the saddle on, or restless and start shifting around on the cross ties when you get ready to put the saddle on. Those are all signs that their back could be bothering them.
So now they've called you, they've determined they have a problem, they call you, and you're coming out. What can they expect? What's going to happen when you show up for the first time?
Yeah. So, I start personally, everybody's chiropractic visit is, everybody's chiropractic exam is slightly different, but I start with, getting a history from them. What kind of concerns do they have? I ask questions like, do both canter leads feel even? Is one side rougher than the other or more difficult? Do they bend evenly both ways? Do they have a harder time traveling one direction or bending one direction? How are the lead changes? Things like that. Any grumpy behavior, bucking, things like that under saddle are all indicators of some pain. So I ask questions like that, try to find out, a little bit more about if they have any specific concerns. And then I just kind of stand back and look at the horse a little bit from visually. So I look at things like that tuber sacrality, symmetry, kind of just their overall muscling. Are they evenly muscled? Is one shoulder bigger than the other? Things like that. And then I start by, obviously introducing myself to the horse and then start running my hands over them. I start up near their head and their poll, just kind of saying hello. And then I run my hands over them from head to tail, feeling for muscle tightness, significant, any sensitivity as I run them over them. I do a little kind of spinal mobility test called a hula. So I kind of hold on to the top of their tail and wiggle them side to side. So that gives me some really good indication of how the energy is flowing through their spine. If they're really, and sometimes you can see obviously the energy's flowing to here and then it stops. Or some of them are just really stiff all the way up and they just don't have, so then the energy's not moving efficiently and it's harder than it should be for them to do their job. So I look at things like that. And then I do an acupuncture scan. So there are acupuncture indicator points that can tell me certain areas on their body that are sore, over top of just palpating muscles and stuff. So there are certain indicator points that tell me their jaw's bothering them, their poll is bothering them, their hip is bothering them, their ankle, so it depends on your chiropractor if they do acupuncture as well. So if it's to be a chiropractor, you have to either be a veterinarian or a human chiropractor. So human chiropractors are not allowed to do, if they're animal certified, they're not allowed to do any acupuncture. So that's kind of an additional tool that can be super helpful. So there's plenty of times with me being a veterinarian that I get called out for chiropractic visits. And then I'm like, we need to really look at your horse's feet as well, or your horse's hocks are sore, because I find that as part of my exam and it can let us know other performance issues we might be having. And then same thing, sometimes I get called out as a vet and I start looking at the horse and I'm like, actually their hocks are not sore, but their pelvis is really stiff and they're sore. So chiropractic's going to be more beneficial for you than joint injections at this time.
How much of it is saddle fit that you run? Do you run into that a lot?
I run into it quite a bit. So, and it's interesting because I have some horses that the saddle fit is their primary issue, and the behavior that they're seeing or the difficulty that they're having is because the saddle is poorly fit, and that's creating issues. And then sometimes I have horses that have muscle asymmetry, especially in their withers and shoulders, that can make them, even if the saddle technically is a decent fit, if they have muscle asymmetry, then sometimes we have to play with their pads and shim one side to help the saddle stay in the middle. So there's often times when I start looking at the horse and then I start asking the client questions like, does your saddle always feel like it's shifting to the left? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so we have a little bit of muscle asymmetry here. So the saddle is falling over on this shoulder because there's not as much muscle there. So if we add this type of pad and fill in that gap a little bit, and then we can work on helping the horse be more symmetrical. And sometimes over time, we can change some of those asymmetries, but we have to make sure the saddle is sitting on them properly to start with. But I do see, so in chiropractic training, I'm certainly not a full-blown saddle fitter where I can tell you exactly what brand or, saddle you need, but I can definitely, we get some basic saddle fitting in our chiropractic training. So we can look at your saddle and say, yes, this is a pretty good fit, or no, this is absolutely, you definitely need to call a saddle fitter out and look for a better saddle for your horse. Or
speaking as America's horse husband, that's the last thing we want to hear. Just saying. Just every horse husband's nightmare. I need a new saddle.
I have.
So one last question for you is, how often do you need to go out? I know that probably entirely depends on the horse, but is there kind of a standard?
Yeah. So typically, sometimes I get called out for chiropractic, and typically like my cob type horses, like your Haflinger crosses and the little sturdy, beefy guys like that, a lot of times they're actually, really quite good. They keep themselves in pretty good shape unless they've had something happen or really have some difficult saddle fit. So it just kind of depends. Off the track thoroughbreds always need chiropractic because of just the way they typically are going in one direction and things like that. So your off the track thoroughbreds, if you have an off the track thoroughbred, if you get a young off the track thoroughbred, definitely think about chiropractic early on to help them be able to learn their new discipline more easily and build themselves and be balanced in the best way possible. But so if it's a horse that's having noticeable issues and has a lot of body soreness or, really tight chiropractic findings, then I typically work on them again in 3 to 4 weeks. I do not typically ever work on one closer than 3 weeks. Often I see them back at 4 to 5 weeks for their first recheck. And there are some horses that are night and day different at their first recheck, and we kind of make a maintenance plan for them. There are some horses that maybe did have an injury or they've had these chiropractic, what are called subluxations, where things are really stuck and not functioning like they should. If they've had those problems for a long time, then often their brain has decided that that's quote unquote normal. And we have to kind of retrain their body a little bit and retrain their muscles to what really is truly normal and help them strengthen so that they can hold those adjustments. So those horses that have bigger issues, I'm typically working on them about once a month for, a couple of months, to some of them, take me more like 6 or 8 months with, the rider kind of doing strengthening exercises and almost physical therapy stuff to really get them straightened out. Most of my, sport horses, jumpers, hunters, dressage horses that I'm working on consistently for maintenance are on a 6 to 8 week schedule.
Kind of the same as the farrier then. Yeah. And then I have some horses that I work on, some of it depends on client budget and what they can do, or depends on how hard the horses are working and kind of what their underlying issues are. But I do have horses that we work on like quarterly that do pretty well. And so, I think most of them are somewhere in that 6 week to 3 month range as far as a consistent schedule if your horse is performing. Very good. Well, where can people find you?
So we have our website, huntcountryequine.com, and then I'm also listed. So if you're looking for a certified chiropractor near you, there's 2 organizations that certify chiropractors. There's the International Veterinary Chiropractic Association, so the IVCA, and then there's the American Association, so the AVCA. So you can actually Google that, and they will have you can look on their website. They have a link for finding a certified animal chiropractor.
Very good. Well, Dr. Buchanan, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Have a great day.
Daily Dose Equine offers a full line of handcrafted horse feeds to maximize the health and performance of horses and ponies of all ages. Each custom feed has been developed with whole grains and non-GMO ingredients to eliminate the risk of herbicide contamination. We are horse people ourselves and have seen firsthand the difference that superior nutrition can render in our equine partners. At Daily Dose Equine, we never forget that natural is better and simplicity is key. Learn more at www.dailydoseequine.com.
Well, right after this word from our friends at Spalding, we have Auditor Alex joining us, and she is coming back to us with a product review. And this time it's of a brand new product that's just coming out in the market. It's for pre-order right now. It's called the Kensington Bex Bar Soap. And her and a couple of our other auditors got this for testing, and let's find out how they liked it.
Easy, effective, and eco-friendly fly control starts with fly predators. Fly predators are the organic, natural way to dramatically minimize your fly problem. Learn more about fly predators and other Spalding Labs fly control solutions at Spalding, spalding-labs.com.
Well, hi, Alex. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Glenn and Jaclyn. How are you?
Good. Well, you're
Hello.
from, where are you at in the world?
I'm in Western Massachusetts.
Ah, gotcha. So the accent is not Western Massachusetts, though.
No, it's Virginian. Yes, originally from England.
Virginia. That's funny. Well, Alex, you got, what kind of horses do you have first? Let's start there.
I have too many horses, and the reason I applied to do this test is that I have 3 white, grey Connemara ponies among all the others.
Oh my gosh.
That sounds like a lot of baths.
Yeah.
I do not do anything else but wash my horses. That's all I do.
Are you a driver or a rider?
I'm well, I was a rider, and I pretend to be one these days.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, there's a lot of us like that. So, Alex, you have white ponies, perfect to try out the Kensington new bar soap, which is really a shampoo. And it's so funny because we think of shampoo, of course, in liquid and bottles. But when I first met Jennifer, bar shampoo was a bigger thing than I think it has been in the last 20 years, but I think Kensington's trying to bring it back. So tell us about it. What'd you think?
Well, I really liked the idea of it. So the first thing I did when I saw it and read the little bit of bump with it was went to the Dollar Tree shop, or the cheap shop, because that's where I do most of my shopping, and bought a soap bag for it so that I could have it in my hand and it would sort of foam up. But then I could get into the really bad places, and I'm sure whatever colour horse you have, the point of the hock and the indent in the hock is always really difficult, and the withers. So I could really scrub round with that. It foams up nicely. It cleans up nicely, especially when you're doing it a couple of times a day if you're showing.
And how's it smell?
Oh, wonderful. It's really nice. So the other thing is that although I don't have white hair, it is very grey. I have used it on myself, and it's very nice for humans too.
I know Rachel also tried it, one of her other auditors, and she really liked it. She said she was skeptical about it, but she also got one of the little soap socks, and she thought it was amazing. She said it lathers up and washes out and smells good. She said basically the same thing you did.
Yeah, it's certainly a product that I think I'm going to be continuing to use. The only negative on it is the conditioning is great. The coat feels wonderful after you've washed them, but the second you've turned them back out again, they're as dirty as ever. But it's much easier for those touch-ups. When you're just doing the poo stains that they've laid in overnight or whatever mischief they've got up to.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, no matter what kind of shampoo you use, they all have that problem. They go out and roll immediately in the mud. Yeah, especially your white ones. So Kim also tried it, and she thought it did very well in the mane and tail too, which regular shampoos sometimes do and sometimes don't. What did you find there?
I found, the interesting thing, and I actually only noticed this morning when one of them was flicking flies, that there is a shine on the top where the mud is. No, the bottom, where the mud is no, that didn't look any better. But the top looked beautiful as the light hit it. There was a real sparkle and a shine. So I'm going to, because we're away at the big Connemara show this weekend, I am going to lather it up and leave it on for longer to see whether, that will make the whole tail look spectacular.
Well, Kim also tried it on her corgi. She has a very famous, Instagram famous corgi, and she loved it on her corgi too. Again, with the corgi, it would be, easier to use. The only thing that I saw is it is $19.95 for a bar, but now they're claiming that it lasts a long time. I know you haven't had a lot of time to use it, like 6 months worth. But what are you seeing there?
Well, that actually is my biggest concern, because I'm not exaggerating when I say all I ever do is wash my horses, because they sort of. I'm a little bit concerned about how long it's going to last, because I seem to have used quite a lot of it. But there is a significant lump still left in that bright pink bag that I bought for it. So I think the jury is out on that one, about the price point, because that I only actually looked that up this morning, the price point, and that has slightly put me off. But then when you're buying bottles of purple shampoo in bulk, is it? I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too with shampoos, right? Like when you're pouring them out of a bottle, how much are you really needing versus wasting? So I like the idea that it's
exactly.
Little bar.
And that's actually a very good point, because of course what happens, you turn around to knock it over, or the horse knocks it over, or you've got to put the lid on properly, and waste. Very, very good point.
Question, Alex. How, I think you sound like you spend a lot of time in the wash rack. How is it from like a conditioning perspective? Because I feel like if I'm washing horses a lot, sometimes their skin gets a little dry.
Yeah, and that obviously is the problem with I really don't, I clip them in the winter and brush them a lot, but, I live in the polar Arctic. But this time of year, I'm actually very pleased with the condition of the coat. And as I say, I'm showing at the weekend, and if I can keep the darn things clean, I'm very happy with the conditions of their coat.
Oh, good.
And it is that bar. They're soft, and it's the shine. I always look for the shine. They look great when they're clean.
Alex, if you had it to do over, would you get white ponies again if you started over?
I have sworn absolutely up and down that I am never. Many, many years ago, when I was still in England, I had an amazing white thoroughbred who was a great fox hunter. And I sold the poor bugger simply because he was white, because I couldn't cope with getting him clean to go hunting in the morning. So, no, really don't like white ponies, and I don't want any more ever again.
I kind of figured that was going to be your answer. Alex, you were great. This is called the Kensington Bex Bar Soap. I'll put a link to it in the show notes. And actually, it's not for sale yet. It's for pre-order. I think it goes, they're actually starting to deliver in August. But I love new products. I love products that are different. As I said, bar soap used to be the thing. Jennifer used to use it all the time. And I remember the little sock, the little soap sock. That we used then. Ours wasn't pink, though, but pink seems appropriate for your little white ponies. I love that. Alex, thanks. Appreciate it. And also thank you to Rachel and Kim. So they were all pretty good reviews. The only thing that came up was the price, and I don't know, when you weigh it out against the shampoo, it might be about even. I'm not sure. We'll find out. Thanks, Alex.
I'll let you know. Thank you.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, there you go. Do you remember the days when the bar soap, with bar shampoo was a big thing, Jaclyn?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever used bar soap for horses, but it's funny because literally at a horse show the other day, some of the prizes they were giving out was bar soap, which I was very confused about, but now my head is spinning.
These are pretty large bars, and I'll put the link. You can go check them out at Kensington. And Kensington, of course, is known for having terrific products. They're good quality products. So I was surprised that they were coming out with bar soap, to be honest. I don't know about you, but I constantly feel like I'm just not contributing to being more eco-friendly and green living in the barn. So I love the idea that like literally we cleaned out our wash rack and threw, recycled like 20 bottles of shampoo. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I do like the idea that it's quite green. Well, and I do get yelled at by Jennifer all the time for using too much shampoo, the liquid stuff. I'm using
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I do overuse shampoo. I do it for my own hair, and I especially do it for Scooter. And she's always going, you don't need that much shampoo. So I'm probably using 3 times what I should be using.
And I think it's probably like we're so used to putting so much shampoo, but do we really need that much? That was kind of my question to her. So
yeah. Well, we do appreciate all three of them giving it a try, and I appreciate you joining me today. We're going to do a little bit of a post show here because something happened in Jaclyn's life.
Shocking.
She needs to talk about it. It was kind of Jamie-like, actually, this particular event. We'll talk about that for the auditors and post show. If you want to become an auditor, get to try products and do all the cool stuff that we talk about here sometimes, you can go to horseradionetwork.com, scroll down the middle of the page, and click on the auditor banner. I did want to mention that if you're someone that goes to the horsesinthemorning.com website often, that website is going away, and everything now, all the shows are being moved to the Horse Radio Network website. So thank God I only have one update anymore. So that actually is being downgraded now. There's no more posting being done to horsesinthemorning.com, and it'll be transferred pretty soon over to the Horse Radio Network website. So go to horseradionetwork.com and you'll find all of the different shows. I think we put out 80 episodes of all the different shows last month. So you'll find them all there at horseradionetwork.com, and you'll also find the auditor banner. So as little as $3 a month, you can join the party, get to try out products, hang out like Jaclyn does, like Kim does, and Rachel. The auditor Facebook group is one of the busiest places I've seen on the internet, and it's also one of the most positive places. You're not going to see any discussion of politics in there.
Thank God.
Yeah, I make sure that doesn't happen. So, Jaclyn, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me at hablinhills.com or on my Instagram, both Hablin Hills Equestrian or Burke Equestrian.
Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We'll have you back sooner than 3 years, okay?
2.5. Sounds great.
All right, I'll see you in 2.5 years.